Good morning, America, and welcome to what was supposed to be a light-hearted Friday segment on Good Morning America, but instead turned into one of the most talked-about television moments of the year. Country superstar Faith Hill was booked to perform her new single and chat about her upcoming tour, but within minutes of sitting down with co-host George Stephanopoulos, the interview took a sharp and unexpected turn. What started as a routine question about the role of politics in today's country music scene quickly escalated into a full-blown confrontation that left the studio audience stunned and the control room scrambling. Sources inside ABC say producers were frantically signaling to cut to commercial while millions of viewers watched in real time as two of the biggest names in their respective fields clashed in a way no one saw coming. By the end of the segment, Faith Hill had stormed off the couch, her microphone still clipped to her dress, and George Stephanopoulos was left sitting alone under the bright lights looking visibly shaken. The clip went viral within minutes, racking up tens of millions of views and sparking a firestorm across social media platforms. Fans of the singer flooded timelines with the hashtag #StandWithFaith, while others questioned whether she had crossed the line on national television. This morning we're breaking down exactly what was said, why it escalated so quickly, and what it means for both Faith Hill's career and the future of live morning television interviews when politics and entertainment collide in such a raw and unfiltered way. Let's go to the tape and rewind to the moment everything changed. George Stephanopoulos, known for his years as a political operative before becoming a journalist, asked Faith what many considered a fair question. Faith, a lot of artists in country music have been outspoken about the current political climate. Some have even refused to play certain states or have cancelled shows over policy disagreements. Where do you stand on mixing politics with music? Faith smiled at first, laughed it off and said, "George, I'm here to sing about love, heartbreak, and pickup trucks, not to run for office." The audience chuckled. The moment seemed to pass, but George pressed further, citing specific lyrics from her new song that many online had interpreted as a subtle jab at conservative policies on the border. He quoted a line directly and asked, "Were you intending that as political commentary?" That's when Faith's expression changed. She set her coffee cup down hard enough that it clinked loudly against the glass table and said, "With all due respect, George, you spent years in the Clinton White House spinning stories for a living, so maybe you're the one seeing politics where there aren't any." A collective gasp rippled through the studio audience. George tried to pivot, saying he was just asking what fans were already debating online, but Faith interrupted him, raising her voice for the first time. "Don't sit there acting like you're some neutral journalist when everybody knows exactly where you lean. I didn't come here to be ambushed on your little political talk show disguised as morning television." From there the exchange only grew more heated. George responded by saying he was simply doing his job, asking tough questions the way he always has, whether the guest is a politician or a singer. Faith fired back, Your job is to smile, play the clip, and tell me how great my new single is. You don't get to lecture me about what country music should or shouldn't be when you've never set foot in a honky-tonk in your life." Crew members later said they could feel the temperature in the studio drop as the two stared each other down. George, remaining remarkably calm on camera, said, "Faith, no one is lecturing you. I'm giving you a platform to explain your art to millions of people." That seemed to be the final straw. Faith unclipped her microphone, stood up, and said, "I don't need your platform, George. I've sold over 40 million albums without ever needing a former Democratic operative to explain my songs to me." She then turned to the audience, blew them a kiss, and said, "Yeah, all have a blessed day," before walking straight off the set as the band awkwardly began playing her hit Breathe in an attempt to fill the dead air. Producers cut to a commercial 30 seconds early, and when they returned, Robin Roberts was sitting alone on a couch apologizing for the passionate exchange and promising to move on to the next segment about holiday cooking tips. Within minutes social media exploded. Clips of Faith's walk-off were shared hundreds of thousands of times with captions ranging from "Queen Faith just ended George" to "disrespectful and unprofessional." Country radio stations across the South immediately began playing her songs in solidarity, while some urban markets pulled her music in protest. Conservative commentators praised her for standing up to the liberal media, While late-night hosts lined up jokes about how Faith Hill had just given George Stephanopoulos the Mississippi goodbye, ABC issued a brief statement saying they respect all points of view and regret that the conversation became uncomfortable, but stopped short of an apology. Meanwhile, Faith's team released their own statement on Instagram saying the singer felt ambushed and disrespected and that she had been assured the interview would remain focused on music and family. Industry insiders say booking agents are already being cancelled and reshuffled as publicists on both sides of the aisle reconsider sending talent to GMA. One veteran music manager told us off the record, "You just watched 20 years of carefully built relationships between country artists and morning shows evaporate in 4 minutes. This isn't the first time Good Morning America has found itself in hot water over a politically charged interview, but it is by far the most dramatic exit in the show's history. Past guests have sparred with hosts before, but no one has ever simply unhooked the mic and walked off while the cameras were still rolling." Some are comparing it to the moment to when Kanye West went off script on live television, others to the Dixie Chicks controversy 2 decades ago when speaking out against the Iraq War led to radio boycotts. What makes this different is the speed with which the clip spread and the immediate divide it created along cultural and political lines. Faith Hill has long been a crossover darling for decades, beloved by soccer moms and cowboy hat wearers alike. But overnight she became a polarizing figure. Her upcoming tour dates in blue states are reportedly seeing ticket refunds, while red state shows have sold out in hours as fans rush to show support. Record label executives are scrambling to figure out whether this helps or hurts album sales. Early numbers suggest her single jumped to #1 on iTunes country chart within hours of the confrontation. So where do both sides go from here? George Stephanopoulos has not commented personally, but sources close to him say he was blindsided and believes he asked a perfectly legitimate question in a respectful manner. Faith Hill, for her part, boarded a private plane back to Nashville and has gone radio silent on social media, letting the viral moment speak for itself. Good Morning America will undoubtedly face pressure from advertisers and viewers on both sides of the political spectrum, and many are wondering if the show will ever book another major country act again. One thing is certain, live morning television just became a much more dangerous place for artists who prefer to keep politics out of their press junkets. Whether this marks the beginning of a new era where celebrities feel empowered to push back against perceived media bias, or simply a cautionary tale about the risks of mixing country music with Washington insiders, remains to be seen. But one thing everyone can agree on is that the 4-minute exchange between Faith Hill and George Stephanopoulos will be replayed, debated, and memed for years to come as a perfect snapshot of America's divided soul in 2025.